I want to shift our attention now to West Bengal, because in phase 3 of the West Bengal Assembly elections, there are 31 seats across the 3 districts of Dakshin, Chobis Parganas, Howrah and Hooghly that go to polls. Most of these have been TMC bastions in the past. Of the 31 seats going to the polls on Tuesday, the TMC won 29 of them in the 2016 Assembly elections. And make no mistake, the tone and tenor, the direction of the West Bengal elections will be set tomorrow, because for the BJP to be able to uproot the Trinamool, it is imperative that they not just do well in the districts where they did well in 2019 in the Lok Sabha elections, but also extend their sway into districts where the Trinamool did well in 2019. Because if they don't do that, then the Trinamool will more likely end up in front when the numbers are counted. So a lot will depend on what happens tomorrow and then in the 4th phase. Here is our primer for phase 3, West Bengal.
A star-studded election, a series of attacks.
जो गौरव पिछले 10 सालों में टोलाबाजी, तुष्टीकरण, तानाशाही, गुंडागर्दी और भ्रष्टाचार से जुड़ा हुआ था, उससे टॉलीगंज के लोग निजात पाना चाहते हैं।
ইলেকশনের আগে আমার পাটা চোট করে দিল ইচ্ছা করে, যাতে আমি ইলেকশনে বেরোতে না পারি। আমি বললাম, আরে আমার একটা পা ভাঙা তো কি হবে, মায়েদের দুটো করে পা আছে না, মা বলে দে।
And poll blitz on the streets. Elections cannot get bigger than this in Bengal. BJP President JP Nadda was in Tollygunj on Monday to campaign for singer-turned Neta Babul Supriyo.
Confident of defeating a 3-term MLA?
Absolutely. They have been the goons of this area. All the illegal activities have been led by Arup Biswas and Swarup Biswas. They'll be taught their lesson this time.
While the BJP fielded party's big guns for campaign trail, the TMC is not far behind. The party has roped in actor and Samajwadi Party leader Jaya Bachchan to campaign for TMC's Arup Biswas.
For a single woman fighting against all atrocities. Head broken, leg broken, but they have not been able to break her heart and her brain, and her determination to move ahead and make Bengal one of the best in the world.
Tollygunj voters will cast their votes in phase 4 on April 10. The TMC meanwhile is upset over Prime Minister Modi's campaign style.
दीदी, ओ दीदी, आपका व्यवहार, आपके शब्द, आपकी बौखलाहट बंगाल के लोगों में चर्चा का विषय बने हुए हैं.
Angry TMC leaders claim the way Modi addressed the Chief Minister is an insult to women.
दुख की बात है कि जिस भाषा में या जिस भाषा का प्रयोग किया जा रहा है, प्रधानमंत्री, खुद प्रधानमंत्री, पहले ये कहना वर्जित है कि उनके चेयर को हम लोग सम्मान करते हैं. इस शब्द को इस तरीके से प्रयोग करके दीदी का अपमान करना पश्चिम बंगाल के महिलाओं का अपमान है.
जो शब्द उन्होंने गृह मंत्री को बोले वो अति आपत्तिजनक हैं, और जो प्रधानमंत्री को बोले वो अति आपत्तिजनक है, और मुझ पर तो अलंकारों की बौछार हुई है. तो ये संस्कृति वाले लोग हमको संस्कृति समझाएं, ये उल्टे चोर कोतवाल को डांटे, ऐसे बराबर की बात है.
Even as the battle between the TMC and BJP gets fierce, voting will take place on 31 seats across the district, including TMC's Bastion, South 24 Parganas and Hooghly on Tuesday.
As the battle for Bengal enters its 3rd phase, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee will be facing off, and this time they will be facing off in North Bengal's Cooch Behar. Meanwhile, as the south and the southeastern districts of the state go to polls starting Tuesday, it is the most crucial leg of this election, this contest, with the BJP trying to breach the TMC's southern bastion and the TMC trying to save it from falling into the BJP's kitty. Polami Saha in Kolkata for India Today.
So pay attention as I show you the areas of Hooghly, Havra, Dakshin 24 Pargana where the elections are being held. TMC picking up 50% of the vote share, 29 seats out of the 31 that go to the polls tomorrow. And if you look at the margin calculator, you'll see that the TMC's leads here are pretty strong. Just 2 of the 31 seats were won with a margin of less than 5,000. Whereas if you look at the number of seats that were won with big margins, there were about, out of the 31 seats, 12 seats that were won with a margin of less than 20,000. Essentially to make the point that this is an area that is very strongly leaning towards the Trinamool Congress. So much so that out of these 31 seats, 25 seats have been won by the Trinamool in every election over the last 3 elections. So since the time Mamata Banerjee has been coming to power, this has been her key area of strength. I want to welcome at this time Nilanjan Sarkar, joins us on this broadcast, has been traveling through Bengal. In fact, did his PhD in West Bengal politics. Jayanto Ghoshal doesn't need to do a PhD in West Bengal politics, but despite that, he understands the ins and outs of the state like virtually nobody else does, and Rahul Verma is still with us. Nilanjan, to you first, explain why phase 3, especially from the perspective of Trinamool, is so important, because the BJP, and I was traveling over the weekend with the Home Minister. We saw several campaigns across the state, including in the seats they go to the polls. The BJP is saying, just look at what happened in phase 1, phase 2. That has set the template for what will happen later. They're hoping that what happened in phase 1, 2 will now extend into Trinamool bastions. But will it?
So look, I mean, you know, this is MC bastion, and you know, one major narrative that we're hearing right now is that there's quite a bit of anti-incumbency due to corruption during Amphan, during the hurricane. Now, we don't actually know how strong that anti-incumbency is in terms of overturning TMC's seats. So this is going to be a very crucial phase for us to understand, especially in South 24 Parganas. If I'm to just sort of say very carefully what the issue is, you know, at the end of the day, the BJP's ground level cadre is not very strong in these areas, and the TMC's is very strong. So the question is the BJP able to put together a strong enough ground level campaign to bring whatever anti-incumbency there is to the fore so they can take a couple of these seats off the TMC? If not, then we expect that the TMC is likely to sweep this region again.
But Jayanto Ghoshal, I saw, for example, Parvesh Verma, the Delhi MP, was in Dakshin 24 Pargana to welcome the Home Minister. He had his whole battery. They've got, in the same fashion, 1 MP in every district. In some districts, they have more than 1 MP. So the BJP is rolling out all the men machine that they have. The question is, have they been able to build the kind of ground support that will help them overtake the Trinamool, which had a very healthy lead on most of these seats?
Yeah. Thank you, Rahul. Actually, what you are saying, that is correct, that now tomorrow's election, for BJP, actually everything to gain and nothing to lose, because this area is dominant political party is TMC. The percentage of vote already you have explained, I am not going to repeat. But the BJP's aggressive strategy, campaign, what you are saying, that several MPs are here. Today I met Keshav Maurya, the Deputy Chief Minister, UP. He held a panchayat meeting here, and the party panchayat and the workers meeting, and he was campaigning in these areas where tomorrow's election is there. And you know, this time, the BJP, like I was talking to a Bihar MP, he went to Howrah only to meet the Biharis, that the party instruction is, जाके वहाँ लिट्टी खाओ और तुम्हारे देशवाली के साथ बात करो, खत्म. So this is a major PR strategy. BJP this time, what they are doing, I have not seen this sort of preparedness of BJP in West Bengal. But Mamata, one thing very important, that tomorrow's election, the Muslim population in several constituencies, among 31, I was trying to study, maybe 20 seats are very important, Muslim dominated areas, and the last time yours, what you are explaining, the statistics, the Muslim vote, it was clearly with Trinamool. Now the Siddiqui's party, the Secular Front's party, is also contesting in these areas, and Mamata Banerjee, very unusual utterance, just 2 days back, she said openly appealing to the Muslim that from Hyderabad, BJP's friend has come, and the Siddiqui, the Furfura Sharif's, the boy, and they are trying to dent the minorities' vote to help BJP. So they are the friend of BJP, be cautious and don't fall into the trap. So this, I mean, the appeal to the minority is very interesting. I have not seen this sort of appeal from Mamata Banerjee in the earlier elections, because Siddiqui's party also is a new phenomenon, the Indian Secular Party, and they are saying, Siddiqui is saying that like in Uluberia, in Howrah district, there are two constituencies where the Bengali Muslims are there, and he is saying that our party, they have given Hindu candidates also. We are not a Muslim party. We are talking about not only Muslims, scheduled caste, scheduled tribe. So this party is also trying to dent the SC/ST vote bank of Mamata,
Okay.
OBC
So
vote
Rahul
bank of
Verma, are
Mamata.
you expecting
So
West Bengal in the end to be a phase-by-phase election, where depending on whose stronghold it is, like phase 1 and phase 2 in Midnipur, largely the stronghold of the, not stronghold, but those are areas where the BJP did well in the last Lok Sabha elections and would be hoping to carry forward that trend, whereas in phase 3 and 4 the Trinamool more strong. Is that ultimately how you think May 2 will also pan out, or do you think by tomorrow, maximum by phase 4, a very strong trend would likely get set in?
Rahul, this is a long election over 8 phases, but I think third and fourth phase is very, very crucial in terms. I see this as an inflection point. I think by fourth phase, the election would set in favor of one party or the other. BJP has made a strong insurgent campaign. As Nilanjan was pointing out, if they don't pick up seats in third and fourth phase, then their campaign will basically, of course, they will, emerge as a very important party. But the campaign to defeat TMC will become harder. These are the two phases where you rightly showed the TMC did really, really well. These phases also, the third and fourth phase is very different in terms of the demographics that has been supporting BJP so far. So now you are basically entering in urban Bengal. You are entering in regions which has lower SC and ST population. And these two things, so BJP has been doing well among SC and ST and doing well among rural areas. So phase 3 and phase 4, BJP has to improve its seat share performance. Second important thing is basically Mamata needs to hold on. Because as the panelists before me mentioned, from this phase onward, the big question for Mamata Banerjee would be to not just hold on to her Muslim vote, but consolidate. And from tomorrow's phase, we will see how much effect ISF in alliance with left and Congress can dent on Muslim vote.
Okay.
So two factors, the SC/ST vote and the Muslim vote and the urbanized nature of
Okay, stay with me. I also want to speak to Nilanjan and Rahul about Assam and show you what's happening in the third phase in Assam. This is lower Assam. This is also where the Congress and the AIUDF need to do exceptionally well. Remember, the demography of these seats, 40 seats out of the 126 going to polls tomorrow, the demography suits the Congress AUDF alliance. Many of these seats are Muslim dominated seats, and therefore it's very difficult for the BJP to be able to win these seats unless there is a split in the minority vote, which is what happened in 2016 when the AUDF and the Congress fought separately. Now they're fighting as one. To what extent is that a game changer? Now you've got the Congress and the AIUDF. If I add them, which wasn't the case last time round, but just for the purpose of comparing when results come out on the 2nd of May, the Congress AUDF have 25 seats here, the BJP has 15. But these 15 are very important because actually they should have far fewer given the nature of these seats. I want to go across to Nilanjan Sarkar first because he's been traveling through Assam as well. Nilanjan, give our viewers a sense of the importance of phase 3 in the calculations of the Congress AUDF, because if in Upper Assam, the BJP did much better than the UDF, and in Barak Valley it was an even or a close fight with maybe the BJP in front, the extent to which the Congress alliance is able to do well tomorrow will ultimately determine who ends up on the victorious side on the 2nd of May.
And that's right. So I'm actually speaking to you from right now. So I've been traveling through Lower Assam. And much like across the rest of Assam, there's a pretty clear numbers game. There's a Hindu vote, there's a Muslim vote. The Hindus are associated with the BJP, the Muslims are associated with the alliance, AUDF, Congress, vote transfers happening in the Muslim community, it seems, in the alliance. So those seats, I think most people are predicting, they're seats that have fairly high margins of victory already from what we've seen. So they're unlikely to change hands. Where things are going to get interesting, and phase 3 is really make or break, is the Bodo areas. There we have an interesting situation where the BPF, which used to be allied with the BJP, has now switched sides to the Congress. And the UPPL, which is a new sort of ascendant party and very popular among the Bodos, probably more popular than the BPF, is allied with the BJP now. Now, that might seem, oh, well, advantage BJP. But there's something that people don't realize. The Bodos are likely a minority in these areas. And so it actually all comes down to how the Muslim population votes in these areas, how the Hindu population, that's Bengali, how the Hindi-speaking population. It's an incredibly mixed area. It all comes down to which way these actors vote. Whether they vote for the UPPL, part of the BJP alliance, or whether they vote for the BPF, part of the Congress alliance. And to me, it seems like that's really where the make or break is here in phase 3.
Rahul Verma, what would you be looking out for? Would the BJP already be confident that they've done enough in phase 1 and 2 to ensure they cross the finishing line? Because we've also seen the Congress try out an interesting experiment. They had Chhattisgarh Chief Minister Bhupesh Baghel, who was garrisoning in Assam, has been helping bring this campaign together. For the longest time over the past couple of years, it seemed the Congress had no hope in hell in Assam, but suddenly in the middle of the campaign, the Congress started picking up data which said, we have a real chance. The question is, did they wait too late? If they'd started making the kind of effort that they finally did 2 years ago, maybe they would have had a much better chance. Could this potentially be another Gujarat where it's only later in the middle of the campaign that the Congress realized, hey, maybe we have a chance?
That's possible. In politics, you never know what's early and what's late. I concur with Neelan. I think, the Bodoland area is very important. There are 10-15 seats there, and BJP made a very calculated decision. So BPF was part of BJP or NDA alliance. BPF lost its Lok Sabha seat in 2019, and there were distancing between BJP and BPF. BJP made a calculated risk by aligning with UPPL during the Bodoland Territorial Council election, which happened last year, and UPPL emerged as victorious, right? So, I think in this phase, what is happening with the Congress alliance is that they have got all three parties to contribute. BPF, AIUDF, and Congress, all three have presence, but you must remember that BPF and AIUDF, their social bases don't gel together. So there is a chance, as what Nilanjan is basically suggesting, that while, in the, like if you just add BPF and AIUDF and Congress vote, it seem like they are going to basically sweep the region. But there is a possibility of counter polarization, and BJP is basically banking on this. I don't think BJP, so if they had 15 seats last time, all they need to hold on to it and perhaps add 1 or 2 more. That is all they need there. But if they lose seats there, then it's
but they won 15 when the AUDF Congress vote was getting split. If the Congress AUDF vote comes together, then even if you get all the majority population or the Hindus of that area to consolidate, it still becomes much trickier. But remember,
it is trickier, Rahul, but you must also remember that Muslim population is concentrated in a couple of districts, right? It's Dhubri and areas surrounding that. Whereas places like Kamrup, metropolitan area and Barpeta, I think there is much higher Hindu population. And if this Hindu-Muslim polarization happened, BJP will be basically aiming to convert seats there and losing seats in other districts which has very, very high Muslim population.
Okay, we'll track this election very closely. For the time being, Rahul Verma, Nilanjan Sarkar, Jayant Ghoshal for joining us on the Newstrack.